Hey guys, it's Danielle here, founder of the Big Money Stylist Podcast, and today we have a guest. I'm super excited. I actually started this podcast about 5 years ago. We primarily had hairstylists on it, just talking about, terminology and the hair world and behind the scenes in the hair world. But recently I've been wanting to have more entrepreneurs on the show. So today we have Nicole.
Hi.
From Coco on the Go. She actually created a phenomenal workout line. I literally flagged her down. I found you from my sister randomly.
Yes, yeah.
And she was like, I think she lives by you. So I literally was like, hey, can I come to your house and look at your stuff? And she was so sweet. She let me come browse all her stuff. But she has kind of a fitness empire, and your stuff is so amazing. Let's start there because I want to hear. I was telling you the other day, I'm like, we both train with the same personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I know you, but I don't. You know?
I feel the same way. I'm like, I live through your Instagram and through Val. I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like I know her.
Yeah. I mean, and we've had a few passing by here and there, but I was like, I wanted to hear more of your story and kind of all across the board. But let's start with Coco on the Go. How long have you had that been going?
9.5 years.
Okay.
I launched my company. At the time, I worked for a pharmaceutical company during the day. I waitressed at night and the weekends. And then in between, I used my first bonus from my pharma company to start my brand. Oh, wow. My inspiration behind it is on one of my trips to South America, particularly Brazil, I loved how women walked with such confidence, whether they were 200 pounds, 85 pounds, they wore thongs and midriffs and just really rock their bodies. Yeah. And it was very inspiring to me because I feel like, I always grew up shy, self-conscious, and in this area, I feel like there's always a need to, be perfect, and anyway, I wanted to take that confidence and bottle it into a brand and bring it home. So when I got home, I Googled, I went to the library, I bought Amazon books on how to start a brand.
Were you married at the time?
I wasn't.
You were, okay.
I was actually newly single and just working my butt off and trying to pursue my passion. And then from that point, I had gotten a gig with the Irvine Company. They had a big fitness expo, and I started really small. I did 3 designs and 2 color wavelengths within each design. Oh, wow. And I sold out of 85% of my inventory, and I had such great positive feedback from all the women. They loved how different my material was. And it really is my niche in the market, or the fabrics I choose.
It's interesting because I didn't realize you were kind of looking for something to make women confidence. I just thought your background was in fitness.
Oh, okay. That's so funny.
Was it, did you want to just have something that they could work out in, but also wear every day and just feel confident and sexy in? Or because I feel like a lot of I have some of your jumpsuits and I don't wear those to work out. That's an outfit. And I'll put it on with a cute blazer and that. But I don't know why I thought maybe you had you were kind of into fitness, but it was more just
It was just a passion.
Okay.
In high school, I actually applied to FITM. I wanted to do the fashion route, and then I ended up going to USC and doing more of the business route, which I'm thankful for. And then I also had this idea that traveling for business would be the same as traveling for pleasure. And on one of my first rounds of traveling for business, I realized I was extremely wrong, and it was terrible. You're in these hotels in the middle of nowhere, and you're just working your butt off. But and that's when I was like, I really want to get back to what my passion is, which is, I really want to inspire people. I really want to incorporate the art aspect and being creative. And then when I went to Brazil and I fell in love with the people and just their way of life, I really wanted to just encapsulate that and bring it to people.
Yeah, I do love your material. That was one of the things I always tell people. I'm kind of a material snob. If I go shopping, I'm always
I am too.
touching things, and I'm like, no, I can't buy that.
Yeah.
And people will be like, you have expensive taste just based off. But I think it's you can sense good quality. Yeah. So you started your line, and I didn't realize you have had it going for 9.5 years now.
9.5 years.
Okay.
Yes, it was a very grassroots approach. Again, because I had 2 jobs at the time. I literally had inventory. I lived in Laguna in a small apartment, so I had it in these big rollers under my bed. I had it in my really small garage that I couldn't even fit my car in. Yeah. And I would just go from pop-up to pop-up in between my jobs, and then I had my, separate business account for Coco, so I just let it keep building on itself. I didn't need to draw from it because I had.
Did you ship all your stuff in the beginning?
I did. Yes.
That's so funny as you're telling me that. So when I started my hair brand, I literally sold like an education product, but it had to come with a kit.
Okay.
And I literally, like, I'd sell like 1 or 2 a week, which I was pumped about.
Yeah.
And I would go put together the kit at Walmart. I had literally like a closet of random kits, and I personally was like mailing them out.
Yes,
I feel like every hustler, like, that's like where you start. People don't know. And you're like, well, I just pulled out the crate under my bed and picked out your colors. Like they assume it's some big manufacturer, and you're like, no, that was me.
That was me.
I personally packed up your stuff and shipped it to you.
Yes. I remember my first manufacturing air, they sent me a huge box of like 500 pieces without my logo and my inside tag.
Oh, geez.
So I got a sewing machine.
You sewed them?
I sewed them because somebody was going to charge me like $3
You're like,
a legging.
no.
I'm like, nope, I can't. My margins are going to be messed up. I'd have
You're
to
like,
do it myself.
it'll take me 10 minutes to sew this tag on. I
Yes.
got this. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
times
funny.
500 pants. I'll eventually get there.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So you are right now. I know. Do you sell it in other stores? I've seen it in like where do I do, like Grit Cycle was carrying it for a little bit. Where do you sell? Is it mostly just online, or where do you sell most of your stuff?
I sell mostly online,
Okay.
and then I do have a lot of retail stores that carry my line.
Okay.
I do, because I am athleisure, I do really well in higher end spas and boutiques.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So I'm in Caesar Spa,
Cool.
Aria, Cosmopolitan, and 2 of their stores. It's my niche, and it's taken me a while to learn, where I fit in, and but it's been a fun journey to grow with the brand. Yeah.
How do you? So once you created your line, I feel like when you started your brand, social media wasn't really a thing.
No.
So how did you brand and position yourself?
So truly just going door to door, and I felt like the opportunities just kept coming to me as well, and I would just keep taking them. It really started in Laguna. They would have art walk, and the stores would have me come into. There was a place called Isla Boutique actually. And I started doing pop-ups with her, and then, first was the Irvine Company, then her, and then I just kept taking opportunities. And I did the Renaissance Club Sport, and then probably 6 months into my company beginning, I met my husband, and I was very shy then. And he is so much more of just not shy, alpha male. And we would go into stores, and he would go up to people and say, "You need to carry her line."
Stuff,
and he became my sales rep.
He's your promoter.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
And he's funny, but that's really
kind of where it started.
Yeah, where it started. Just very grassroots, one at a time.
I feel like you and your husband kind of remind me of me and my husband. I don't know your husband that well, but like I'm the same way. I feel like I'm a little bit more, introverted. I've come out of my shell, but like Garrett's the one that's always like same thing in the beginning. He'd be like, "My wife should do your hair." I was like, "They might be offended if you say that. Like, don't say that." That's awesome. So so you started there. And that's what's so lost is like this old school hustle of like you say like door to door, but like legit it's called networking.
Yes.
Like it's like no, you go to different shops, you go to different areas, you try to network, you find events. You just get your name out there.
Yes.
But even now, like your brand on social media has really evolved. And talk about like, how did you start, you go from the old way of like hustling and doing all that. And then social media pops up. How long have you had your social media and online presence going for?
I was very fortunate. My roommate in Laguna, she was going back to school to get her master's in business. And she asked if she could help me use my company as a guinea pig. And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. Everything I am not strong on, please take away off my plate. And she started my social media platform and just really helped create a base for me. And then I have really learned to know my strengths and know who to give my weaknesses to, and not try to do it all. So really social media I'm really not great at it. And I've always had to hire somebody to help me make it look what my vision is, and they've always done a great job. So I have a girl currently I use who does it for 3 other companies. And
cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the key is I think for women, moms, entrepreneurs, like we think we needed to do it all. And you're like, I'm really sucky at that. And I probably should find somebody else to do it. But when you're passionate about something and it's like your baby, you're like, but it has to be on brand. It has to be represent you and luxury and the quality of your stuff, because workout gear, like your stuff, it looks nice, so I feel like sometimes it's like when you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like, I don't know. I can't tell is it good or bad, but I can always tell based off like your overall marketing, the price point, things like that. So you can genuinely tell like, oh, this is going to be nice quality stuff. And
it's evolved. You know, when I first started the Instagram, after my roommate went away and no longer did it for me, I had hired somebody else, and I don't feel like it was executed correctly. So it's taken, little setbacks to get back in a groove with it.
What's been the hardest thing of just like continuing to push your vision forward? Because I would say like you're a mom, right?
Yes.
Yep. You have a three-year-old. What's his name? Kingston. So I feel like it's so hard, especially when you have kids. You're like, why? It's like, why am I still doing this, right?
Yeah.
And yet, like when you're passionate about something, you're like, I want to be a mom, but like I still want to push my business forward.
Yes.
How has it been for you as a mom, not kind of falling into that mom guilt and continuing to push your brand?
Yeah, it's hard. It's just staying true to me, really, what makes me feel fulfilled.
Right.
And I notice that I get grumpy, and I don't feel 100% when I put too much of my energy into work, or maybe, I'm giving too much of myself in even my family, because I have 4 stepdaughters and
you do?
I do, and a busy revolving door of people. So sometimes I get too wrapped up in, and working from home too, it's hard because you have to separate
business and
home from business.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine not doing it because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, but it seems like you balance it pretty well. I think it's like when you're working at home, it's like you can see your kids and like wave to them, but you're like, mommy's working. So it's like, I used to not work as much at home because I was working at the salon all the time.
Yeah.
But now I really like working at home. My hard thing is like understanding like the nanny can take care of the kids. Like I need to let her do her job and not have like the kids like constantly coming in. Do you have somebody who comes in and helps you in the house?
I do. She's amazing.
Oh, nice.
And because she's so amazing and teaches them and really treats them like her own. Yeah. It makes it so much easier for me to let go and let her do her job and let me focus on mine.
I always tell Garrett, I'm like, I think sometimes our nannies are better at doing their job than me because I'm always trying to multitask.
Yes.
Like when I'm with the kids, it's like sometimes I have like really good quality time, but half the time I swear, I feel bad even saying this, but I'm like posting or emailing or something, and I'm like, you're fine. So part of me is like, why don't I let my nanny stay later so I can actually finish what I'm doing?
Yes. I know when 4 o'clock hits, I'm like, okay, I need to switch into mom mode. Yes. And I really have to let go of the business. Yeah. And I get frustrated. I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm not very good at, I'm not a 4 a.m. riser. So I'm like, I'm going to get up early tomorrow and just finish it. And then, 6 a.m. comes and he's yelling my name. I'm like, oh, that's a no. Yeah.
So so I didn't realize how far apart are you guys in age?
We're 12 years apart.
Okay.
He started when he was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he had his first child right out of high school. And then they had one every 4 years. And then
4 girls.
4 girls, yes. It sounds chaotic, but I really am.
I mean, I have 4 girls. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, yes.
I'm like, it is chaotic.
It is. And as a stepmom, there's a balance too because you're not their mom, and you, have feelings and you have opinions, but it's.
How old are his daughters?
They are now 29.
Okay.
25. Soon to be 21 and 13.
Okay. So he's got one like teenager, but they're kind of older. I have a 24-year-old stepson.
Okay.
So, but same thing. I always, I tell Garrett, I'm like, I actually feel like I have like almost not an easier job, but I can play like the friend card. Yes. Like, I have like a biased opinion. And so like him and I connect quite a bit because I'm not really like trying to parent him. It's just more of like the friend card.
And that's why I love my relationship with them too, because it's, I can't be the friend role. I'm not the parent. Yeah. So it's nice to, come in and have them be so welcoming and loving and respecting. So I really got lucky. Yeah. I grew up with not that. I grew up with, a stepmom and a chaotic household. So it was so refreshing to have something different. Yeah.
So, so you and your husband met and then you told me earlier, you're like, one of my non-negotiables is like, I just want one baby. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that if you don't care.
No.
I know that you had told me like you had some fertility things, and tell me, I want to hear more of that story.
So when I met him, again, he had 4 daughters and he was done. He had had a vasectomy 3 years prior. And when you get a vasectomy, every year that goes by, your chances of being able to conceive naturally go down, even if you get the reversal. So at that point, it was 3 years, and we weren't ready to have a baby right away. So he actually had to go on a pregnancy hormone to get his sperm count up, and he had to do it for like 8 months. And it was actually really funny for me because he's
experiencing like hormones like women do.
Yes, he was feeling lethargic, tired, like everything we
like,
feel.
Welcome to being pregnant.
Yes, and PMS and like all of that. And he'd be cranky. I'm like, do you have PMS? And he'd be like, funny. Stop it. But he stayed on it for 8 months, and then at the end of the 8 months, they basically come in with these like Ghostbuster suits. And they extract the sperm from behind where they snipped.
Okay.
And then they put his on ice, and then it was my turn to do my part with the egg retrieval. And I hated it. Absolutely.
Because you have to go on stuff to do that, right?
So much stuff. I had like twice the amount of eggs I should by my age. And then my husband made a joke to the doctor. He's like, well, she's Mexican. And the doctor's like, oh, that explains it. Okay, yeah. So my belly expanded too fast because the eggs become the size of golf balls.
Oh, wow.
And then my abdomen split. So then I had to have a mesh put in for my hernia. And
was this, before you were even pregnant?
This before I was even pregnant.
Okay.
And then they make the babies in the Petri dish. And we had 2 boys that were grade A transferable and 1 girl that was mosaic. Oh, wow. So it means she has abnormal cells. I think there's a 75% chance that the egg will the embryo will self-correct in the womb. But considering my husband had 4 girls, he's like, no girls. I want my boy.
Yeah, he's like, so, if we can pick.
Yeah, if we could pick. So we did the 1 boy, and but it's a journey.
I was going to say, that's crazy. The fact that, because I mean, I have brothers that have had fertility issues and things like that. So I know like a little bit of the process and the stress it causes you, like mentally, emotionally, physically, like everything. But even to like the fact that you guys have a son is like a miracle baby.
It is.
Like the fact that he was snipped and they were able to put it all together, like that's amazing.
It was,
but
amazing,
I'm sure like at the time, it's how long did that take you? The whole process?
God, it took a long. So he did his part right before we got married, and so that process 8 months, and then after that, my egg retrieval, I forgot. I think it was like a 6-week process, and then I just remember feeling. I mean, it truly was the worst part of it. Yeah. Once they implanted the baby, it was like nothing. It was fine. It was so easy. Yeah. But the retrieval for me personally was so hard, and then I had to do shots. You have to do these big shots in your butt, like, what is it, twice a day. And I have an overactive immune system, which means I had to do it even longer, 3 months longer, so that my body wouldn't reject the baby.
So how long did it take you to actually get pregnant? Like, it was like
honestly, once you're...
Or I guess the whole process, like once you're pregnant, you're pregnant. But like the process
pregnant,
is like, what, is like a year or?
I mean, over a year for sure, between all the waiting and then making sure his count was correct, and then making sure my body's ready for it, because my doctor did a trial run, and then we had to wait a couple months and then restart the process to do the real thing. And then again, once I was implanted, it was easy. Yeah. It was just everything.
How was your pregnancy?
Oh, I hated being pregnant.
Oh, really? I don't love being pregnant either.
I mean, I had kinkles. I gained 50 pounds. I threw up almost every day. I would just brush my teeth and then
throw up.
Yeah.
Did everything deliver? Did you deliver fine and everything?
No, I really hated the whole thing. I had a 36-hour labor, and then they did emergency C-section.
They did? Oh.
Yeah. So
my very first one, they almost did an emergency C-section, and they, like the last minute, I don't even know if they use these anymore, but like they literally vacuumed her out. Oh, and like I had 2 nurses on me like shoving.
Oh my God.
It's like,
Did you have epidural?
Yeah, but it was wearing off.
It wears off.
It was awful.
It's terrible.
It's not.
No, the whole process. I really.
But the baby's so cute.
Yes,
so it's
worth it.
It's all worth it.
Yeah, once they hand you the baby, you forget.
Yeah, you totally forget. It's funny because I've had 4 daughters, and like I haven't loved any of my pregnancies. I don't get sick, but I get really high blood pressure, and like it's just not a fun journey
scary,
for me. Yeah, it's scary. My last 2 babies I had 5 weeks and 6 weeks early. So they were like teeny. I mean, on a positive note, one push and they were out.
Okay,
But it's, I'm not one of those girls that's like, I love being pregnant.
Yeah, no.
It's hard.
That's so beautiful. I'm like, I'm throwing
Yeah.
up and
Exactly. It's
I'm
like,
waddling. I don't know how beautiful I feel.
Yeah. But it's like when they hand you the baby, you're like,
Yes.
it's all worth it.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So after you had your son, did things change for you inside of business then?
Yes.
Like, did you like have to create different like boundaries? Was your business already kind of running on its own? Like,
it was running on its own, but I had a great team. I have a great team, and they all stepped up. And I mean, as a business owner, you wear so many hats all the time, and they really helped me so much.
Just kind of keep it going so that you could like do the mom thing and not like stress out. I think that's so key. Like when I was first building my business, I literally, my first 2 kids, it was in hustle mode.
Okay.
And I remember, I think I took like 3 weeks off, and like the other one I took maybe like a week off.
Yeah.
It's like, and so my second round, obviously we were a little more established, and I told my husband, like, if we're doing this again, we're doing this like right. Like, so I think having, team members that you can trust, it's so nice, because you're like, then I'm in my business where and when I want to be. You can be the creative director. You can come in and do all the fun stuff, and you trust that they're going to kind of like maintain that. My team's actually fairly small. Like people think I have like a really big team. I'm like, no, I really don't. Like, but I have a team that I can
rely
trust.
on. Yeah, same. My team is not huge, but it's small and perfect. And my company really does run itself. It's just being organized too, making the plans the week ahead.
What does a typical like work week look like for you?
Well, as soon as I pass my child over, it's just making, in my industry, you have to be like a year ahead of the curve. So it's making sure I'm making the right decisions of what colors I'm choosing
for next spring.
Fall. Making sure I'm choosing the models that really represent my brand. Did the current spring get delivered correctly? Are all the inside tags on the right side? You don't have to sew any tags on anymore? So I'm not sitting there sewing. Just making, and then sometimes, rarely, but I got a whole shipment in, was it 6 months ago, and the package was open and I was missing, a bunch of inventory. I'm like, okay, well, I was relying on that for my shipments, and they're waiting on my shipment. So just being as organized as possible and planning ahead is really. Do you have like for me, it's like I have like my schedule. It's like my schedule is very flexible, but I created that way on purpose so that I could like be a mom and be a wife and do all the things. And so it's like, for me, I have like my set team meetings, and it's like you have your projects you need to get done. For you, because I can tell you, like, I had to set certain working hours. Otherwise, like, I just feel like I can't turn my brain off. And then that's when I'm trying to juggle the kids and like try to work on stuff. Do you set aside certain times, like every day or every week, where you're like, I'm focusing on this, or I'm focusing on this? Or do you kind of, mine, no, I had to, otherwise I feel like I'm a bad mom. No, same. I have to. I schedule everything from date nights. Even when I'm being good and disciplined, I'll even the night before every single day, I'll write out the 3 key things that I have to finish that day. And that way I feel accomplished and I feel more organized. And then I even got my husband, who is not a planner, hates writing things on a calendar, to sit with me and say, okay, we have to. This is our date night, or else we'll never do it. Right. This is weekend we're taking, Kingston on a family trip. It has to be written out, or else I get lost in being a mom, or I get lost in work. Yeah. Do you guys do date nights weekly? We try. Yeah. I've been trying so hard. We were good at it, and then I feel like April, May, and June have been so crazy. 2 of his oldest daughters are 4 years apart, born on the same day. And oh, really? Yeah, they're both May 29th. And then my son, my dad, and my grandma are all born on May 27th. Oh, okay. And then April's Matt's and my birthday. Like a lot of family activities. So much family activities. Yeah. That's funny. 2 of our kids have the same birthday too. Oh, really? It's my stepson and my daughter, though. Oh, that's kind of random. And Garrett one time was like, "When's Parker's birthday?" I'm like, "You have 2 kids with the same birthday. You should probably remember that. You should probably remember that. Do you want me to put it on the calendar?" Yeah. So that's crazy though. Like
it's kind of fun because you've been able to create your passion, right?
Yes.
Which was this workout line, and it's been able to evolve, and you still are kind of pushing it. Are you kind of pushing it to go even further? Like, what's your next big goal with Coco on the Go?
My next big goal is a brick and mortar. I would love a brick and mortar. You know, I have, again, many retail stores. I have my full online store. But to be able to walk into an actual brick and mortar would be amazing. I know that.
So like your own shop.
My own shop. Yeah. It is, again, such a hard industry, and but to be able to have a flagship store and really represent my brand is my next goal.
I think you should do that.
Oh,
I would do that.
You're
I'm
good.
like, can I come to your house?
Yes.
Is this illegal?
Yeah.
But no, that'd be like something like cute and boutique-y. I feel like that
Yeah.
would be like, I could see a little shop at like Fashion Island
That's
or even
what
in
I would
Laguna
love.
or something.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once you do that, then it's like, okay, can you branch into Neiman's? Can you branch into Nordstrom's?
Yes.
You know? And then it starts to get fun. I'm working on it right now, but I have a curling iron that I have been trying to get the design and everything perfect. But that's like one of my goals is I'm like, hey, I want to be able to not just sell it to my hairstylist, but actually have it go into like some of the big like Nordstrom's and Neiman's and sell like a nice iron. But it's crazy. It's like everybody has like their journey and how I think a lot of women, they kind of want to quit or stop. And it's like, you don't have to go 110% into your business. If you have the right teams, you can really create your boundaries to be whatever it looks like and still push your business forward. Like there's going to be moments of hustle, like you were saying, like in the beginning, you were like working 2 jobs and trying to get your brand off the ground. But ultimately, like if you just keep it going, momentum will build. But it's also good, like you said, you're like, well, my next goal is to actually have a store. Is it something you've actually entertained? Like,
yes,
a space?
Nice. I am looking at Fashion Island. I would
cool.
love to be there. There's just so much foot traffic, and it's my demographic. And I think it's a great place to start. And even if I couldn't find a perfect spot there, Lido Island, just anywhere.
I think that'll help put your brand, like, I mean, I love it and know it, and a lot of my friends have it, but it'll just put you a little bit more like on the map. And I'll tell you too, like for me, when I when I opened my salon 7-8 years ago, like it was more just like brand credibility. It's like what you need to get to the next level. Like my salon does well, but that's not why I opened it, right? I needed that to take my education to the next step, right?
Makes sense.
And it's nice to say like, oh, this is the flagship, salon for Natural Beauty Rose, and you could be like, this is the flagship store, and you may branch out. Or you may not. I thought about franchising at one point.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Just because like actually owning a storefront, it's so much more, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So I mean, I personally don't know. You do, but it'll take you, so for now, my salon's up and running, but it'll take you like 3-4 years if you're like kind of back in the trenches. Yes.
Like you're kind of back in hustle mode, but it's fun, right? You're like, okay, you're building your teams now at your shop. You're creating your inventory or whatever it is. You're like building a client experience at your shop.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, I had been doing hair for, like 12 years. No, it was like 12, 13 years. And then I started my education actually before I started my salon.
Oh, wow.
So I was teaching people and they were like, oh, is this your salon? I'm like, no, I'm just renting a chair. So I felt like it was the next step for my brand, you know?
That definitely made,
So it was like, I'll tell you just from my experience in the salon world, just it's fun, but you have to put like a 3-year hustle mode into it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, as long as you set kind of your own boundaries and things like that, because I went from working like way too long of hours, like when my first 2 kids were little, to like completely burning out, to wanting to quit. And I would have never, launched what I have now. So I always encourage women, I'm like, don't push yourself to where you're going to burn out.
That's very true.
But if it's something that you feel passionate about doing, like do it, but make sure you have team members to support your vision. Yeah. Which it sounds like you do. Like when I opened my salon, I didn't even have an assistant. I literally was like by myself. I had no teams, and I was
working more hours.
I was working so many hours. So I was like, at least you have people that can kind of help you like get it moving and get it going.
Yeah,
so.
Between my sales girls and my marketing team, I feel. I know it's going to be back in the trenches, and I know it's going to be feeling like I'm going door to door again.
Right.
But it will be worth it because it makes me excited.
I was gonna say it's like scary but exciting.
Yes. Yeah. And worth it. Worth the work.
How long have you thought about doing this?
I've been going back and forth since I launched Coco.
Okay, so you need to do it then.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started my brand, it was like, create your business plan.
Yeah.
What do you see? And, one of my good friends owns a successful clothing brand. And, when I asked her for advice, she's like, don't do it.
Yeah, no.
And she's like, don't do brick-and-mortar, but just don't get in the industry. The margins are terrible.
But you already have a brand though. So, cause like I have friends or people that they're literally starting from scratch. So they try to start they open a personal gym and I'm like, you have no social media presence.
Yeah.
Or like they want to launch a clothing line, but they don't have, again, social media. And so at least you have all of that.
Yes.
So at least you're not totally starting from
I'm not
scratch.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, because I would tell people the same thing for like hairstylists.
Yeah.
In the hair industry, everyone thinks they need to be a salon owner. And I'm like, why? Like to them, they think that's success is to have an actual salon.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, are your current books full? Well, no. Well, just because you're a salon owner doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And then it's like, and how is your current, marketing and social media plan? They're like, well, I don't really have one. I'm like, okay, start. I always tell people, start with where you're at, right?
Yeah.
But you already have like a foundation. So to me, this seems like the natural step to kind of like push you out of your comfort zone, but it's not, like I said, you already have a foundation, you already have a team, you already have the social media. So if anything, it'll be exciting and it'll probably push your brand even more.
Yeah.
So I think you should do it.
Thank you.
So some of my hairstylists, when they tell me like they want to open up a shop, I'm like, no, you're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like,
don't do it.
I'm like, I'm just telling you from my
honest,
experience, like you need to build your clientele and your brand and then maybe open up a shop, so, but it's crazy. So what advice would you give to women that want to start a brand, like that are like kind of scared, they're passionate about whatever it is, maybe it's clothing, maybe it could be a salon owner, like what made you like pull the trigger even on Coco on the Go?
I would say be very clear in what your vision is. It's one thing to dream about something and want it, but it's a whole other thing to really create that plan and start making the baby steps. So don't just dream about something, like put it to paper, really get a concrete plan going and start making daily, even if it's just small little steps.
Consistency.
Be consistent. And, again, I had 2 jobs and I was working so hard at my brand and in my jobs. And I had this vision of what I wanted, but every day I just slowly
did a little more and
just let it snowball on itself.
It's crazy because I preach that all the time. I'm like, the small consistencies will lead to big wins over time.
Yes.
And I think that people want an overnight success story. And you're like, life doesn't work that way. And imagine if you just did a little bit every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, I've had my brand for 9 years. It didn't happen overnight, but it was like slowly building upon itself and picking up momentum. And it also allowed you, get married, go through the process, have your son, be a mom, and do all those things.
Yes.
So I think consistency is so important. It's like one of the things that I always preach as well. It's like just little things every single day. So, okay. So random questions. What do you like to do for fun? I know you like to work out, or do you not like to work out?
No, I actually do love working out. It's such a mental release for me. And
I don't know why I thought you were more into fitness. I just assumed because you have a fitness line.
I am. I love working out. When really my passion, I would say has come from my parents. They were very health freaks. They would make my baby food.
Oh, really?
Yes. When 24 Fitness was in San Juan at the original spot off the freeway, my mom would, I think it was called Family Fitness. She would sneak me in and I would get to work out with her. And I was like 5. And, my dad, they're just very busy and have always been health and fitness forward. My fitness line wasn't about my passion for fitness. It was really
just like a lifestyle for you.
It was just a lifestyle.
So you like working out. We work with the same trainer.
Yes.
What do you do? Okay, because I always ask Val, I'm like, do you train me the same way you train everybody else? I'm like, what do you do for your workouts?
Yeah. Well, I guess prior to Val, I was such a cardio person. I
remember talking to you about that.
And I felt like I had to run miles on the treadmill to stay in shape. And then I didn't realize till I met Val 3 years ago.
Incorporate some weights.
Yeah, I have to incorporate some weights. I'm actually just burning my lean muscle. I'm not even building anything. And I mean, currently I do Val 3 days a week and then Pilates and walks.
Yeah.
I don't even do heavy cardio anymore.
It's so funny because I used to be the same way, and my body felt inflamed, and
always.
I felt like I had like a pancake butt,
and
I was like, "What is going on?"
And always hungry.
Yeah,
too.
I'm like, why? And I still do cardio because I actually love running on the beach here. I do
It's
like
so
a little
beautiful.
15-minute jog every morning. People think I do like tons of cardio. I'm like, I do 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
but
just for like your mental state.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
But it's crazy. Same thing. I used to probably not eat enough and do too much cardio, and then I was like, that sucks. And so then I started educating myself and started training with Val. Same thing, like putting on muscle. I'm like, okay, it's still hard though. Like I was talking about this before the show. Like for me, and I don't know if you feel the same way. Like I felt like everyone after I had kids are like, oh, just don't, it's okay if you don't get back in shape. And I was like, no,
it's not okay.
No, it's not okay. But there's that balance of like not being too hard on yourself. Where you're like, oh, like you said, I'm too lean. I'm too this. I'm too that.
I'm definitely. I have a hard time of being too hard on myself.
Yeah.
Like I always like, okay, I'm not lean enough. I don't have enough muscle. Okay, if I only could get 2 more pounds off me, like it's just
it's an ongoing. But it's funny. I tell Garrett, I'm like, any woman who says she doesn't think about that a lot is lying. Like we're women and we stress about that kind of. So I think it's important. Like I always tell Garrett, I'm like, I kind of have like my range, where I'm like, okay, you had your fun, now reel it back in.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to Mexico, like go have fun or whatever.
Yeah.
So
actually have the cocktail, like with the mixer. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I know it's crazy. It's crazy because I started getting into like the fitness shows, and people think I'm like super strict all the time, and I'm like, no, it's so hard to like live that way. So I think it's important to kind of have like this accountability to yourself, but like keep it like healthy and balanced and that kind of thing. Yeah.
I think balance is key. When we go on vacations, I let loose and I have fun, and then when I'm home and I have that like 5-pound bloat of just letting loose, then I'm like, okay, time to reel it back in. Let's get healthy.
After every vacation, I'm like, I got a giant food baby. My husband's like, he's always like, you look hot no matter what. I'm like, you're cute. Like, guys don't care.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
don't
us.
care.
We're like, no, can't you see all this water weight?
Do you see the cellulite? Like, you're crazy. Please stop talking.
It's funny though, because I'll like even joke around with Val, and I'm like, Val, you probably hold yourself to this crazy high standard because you're a trainer. When owning a fitness line, do you kind of feel like you got to be staying healthy and fit and those kind of things, just kind of uphold your brand, I'm sure.
I do. Yeah. I feel like, again, because I was so instilled.
It's a lifestyle.
When I was raised that it's such a lifestyle.
Or it's a standard.
It's a standard. Yeah. My husband, it's funny because he loves sports. He'll play basketball and softball and join leagues and but then eat pizza.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah, and he eats whatever he wants. And I came in and I'm like, my stepkids, I probably drive them crazy because my snack area is like almonds and like healthy food, and they're like, Nicole has nothing in this house.
That's my kids are always complaining, Mom, you have no food. I'm like, there's plenty of fruit and vegetables in there, and they're like, we want Oreos and Cheetos. I'm like, that's garbage. And it's funny, sometimes they'll sneak stuff home because I have teenage girls, but my problem is if it's there, I will eat it. I'm like, why am I eating spicy Cheetos right now? Like if it's not there, I'm pretty good. I'm like, just don't keep it in the house, and then
just
I'm
away
fine.
from me. The kids will actually have like snack bags in their room. I've caught them have like Oreos and all this like junk food, and they're like, hide this from Nicole.
So my girls will do that with candy.
Oh, okay.
And on the weekends I'll be like, well, I know you have Kit Kats in here. And they're like, no, Mom, you said to hide them from us. I'm like, okay, fine, thanks. That's funny. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been so fun to like get to know you a little bit more. Like I said, like I feel like I've kind of known you, but kind of didn't. And I knew you had your fitness line, and I personally love it. So I just wanted to pick your brain, and I love other women sharing their stories because I think it's inspiring.
Yeah.
I think it's, like I said, you're a mom, you're married, you started this brand, and it didn't happen overnight. No. But staying consistent and true to what you're passionate about, it makes your brand authentic as well. So I thank you guys, or thank you so much for being on. You guys check out Coco on the Go. What's your website? Is it just Coco on the Go?
It's just CocoOnTheGo.com.
Okay, so check out her stuff. Like I can tell you, I'm a material snob, and it's very high quality. I love it. I posted some of it on my blog, so you can also check it out there. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me so much.
We'll have you guys check her out, and we'll see you on another episode of the Big Money Stylist every single week.
Thank you. Bye.